It's working. It's Kaliki. It's working again, Kaliki. I can't believe it. It's working, Kaliki. It's absolutely amazing. He's got his laptop camera back working. I can't believe it. He had to use his phone yesterday because his live stream wasn't working on his laptop because of his camera. It's absolutely amazing. The words of Gary Barlow is absolutely amazing. Hey guys, good early morning to each and every single one of you. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope you're all having a fantastic early morning to the early hours of this Friday morning on Friday the 17th of May 2024 this year. Hope you're looking forward to your day. Hope you're all looking forward to the end of the week, and I hope you're all looking forward to another brand new weekend in May 2024 this year. First of all, do a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, United Red Devils 20. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and remember to always remember to put the notification bell on at all times so you receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of this year in 2024. We are going to have dedicated summer transfer news coming right throughout the summer transfer window this year across Europe, the EFL, and the Premier League, and much more brand new content planned for the rest of the year in 2024. And sadly, it is the final day of the 2023-2024 Premier League season on Sunday evening. It's match day 38. It's the final day of the Premier League season, where a season basically to forget for Manchester United, where again we are heading into a crucial last day away game away to Brighton and HOVE Albion at the AMEX, where Manchester United haven't won at Brighton for the last 3 or 4 seasons in a row. And this is make or break for Erik ten Hag. Failure to get anything from Brighton, Manchester United will not have European football next season for the first time since 2014. That's over 10 years ago when that happened under David Moyes. Manchester United cannot afford not to win this game. Brighton this season have been very, very up and down. I've noticed a completely different Brighton team. I don't know if it's the impact of losing so many of their key players last summer in 2023. Once that transfer window opened, Brighton lost so many key players. And I don't know if that impact has massively cost them on the pitch. But something has not gone right at Brighton in this season. And I think Roberto De Zerbi, who was so solid as Brighton's manager last season, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at Brighton, but something's not quite right there at that football club. And I think off-field speculation regarding the situation for Roberto De Zerbi currently as the Brighton manager, where he's being linked with so many top jobs in Europe. He's been linked with obviously the Manchester United job. He's been linked with Barcelona. He's been linked with Bayern Munich. And I don't think that off-field speculation has helped Brighton at all this season. And maybe, last season has massively caught up with them. Maybe, Roberto De Zerbi's tactics and style of play have been figured out by the opposition and the current other managers in the Premier League. I don't know what's going on at Brighton, but they are not the same team they were last season. I think Brighton have become very, very predictable. I think some of the players that they've got still at that football club, players like Danny Welbeck, was let go by Arsenal because he was no longer good enough. It's been given a brand new 2-year contract. Quality players like Adam Lallana, where they were once good for Liverpool and Southampton, have gone to Brighton after 1 or 2 seasons, and Adam Lallana is leaving Brighton at the end of the season. I think it's due to family reasons that he's leaving Brighton at the end of the season. So I don't think Brighton this season have been helped by the fact that Roberto De Zerbi has been linked with all these jobs off-field speculation. I don't think Brighton have coped well since they've lost 2 major key players, were Alexis McAllister and Moses Caicedo. I think Brighton have really struggled this season. And I think, McAllister and Caicedo last season were absolutely carrying that Brighton team. And I think since they departed, Brighton just do not look like the same team they once were. I don't know if it's because of the impact of losing both those players, but maybe those players have not been replaced properly, especially with the type of money Brighton got for those 2 players. Brighton haven't really invested it enough back into the first team squad to be able to cope without the quality those 2 players left Brighton for Chelsea and Liverpool respectively for. Brighton haven't really been able to adapt since those two players departed. And I think Roberto De Zerbi has really, really struggled to be able to cope with the off-field speculation as well as trying to cope with the on-field problems Brighton have had this season. Like, I don't remember the last time Brighton have actually won a game, but I can't remember any Brighton wins for the last 4 or 5 games. I can't remember when Brighton last won a game in the Premier League. It's been quite a long time since Brighton have won a Premier League fixture. But I think, again, Roberto De Zerbi has done a good job to an extent, but I think that off-field speculation now is going to dramatically end. Will he still be at Brighton next season as their manager? I'm not 110% sure. Will he still have half that players there next season with him? Again, not 110% sure. But Brighton, again, have had an okay season. They're going to get top half football. They've done very, very well this season to go where they were from last season, where they were playing Europa League football. Brighton did so well last season. And obviously, the Europa League football they've had, you know, maybe it's affected them. I don't know if this busy schedule has affected where you're playing every Thursday, Sunday. I don't know if that's helped Brighton, but I think maybe it's kind of give them a bit of a reality check that because you're playing across Europe and you're playing so many European teams across the globe, and there's fixture congestion and the travelling is obviously not going to help Brighton anyway. I think Brighton haven't really been helped by having to compete in that Europa League and play every Thursday, Sunday. And I think, maybe that's not helped them. But for me, there's something not quite right at Brighton. And I've not seen Brighton being able to pick up any decent results in their last few games in the Premier League. So maybe it's caught up with them, or maybe losing the players they once had at that club aren't no longer there. And Brighton have now been massively, massively effective on the pitch where they once were. They're now not that effective. I think Brighton, without replacing McAllister and Caicedo properly, have probably struggled to adapt to getting, bringing in a younger, versatile squad of young, talented players, which Brighton's recruitment has to be applauded for. Obviously, building a young, talented team is going to take a lot of time. And obviously, it's going to take time for those younger players that Brighton are trying to recruit for their football club on a different recruitment style. Maybe it's trying to adapt those younger players and what the Premier League lifestyle is going to be like for them on a full-time basis. I think Brighton, again, they aren't going to be a club that are going to get into any trouble. They're not a club that are going to get into a relegation fight. And they're not a football club who are going to be in the bottom three. Brighton are just simply too good of an addition to the Premier League. And I think they've been an absolute breath of fresh air since they've been up here. I think Brighton have had so much different quality to any other promoted club that has ever come up to the Premier League. And since they've been up in the Premier League, they've not been gone. They've not gone down. They've not been relegated, and they've been absolutely stable. It's because the managers they've had at their club have done very, very good jobs. But it's the recruitment behind the scenes that when Brighton are being able to bring in all these talented professionals from European leagues in South America, they are making instant impact on the Brighton team and the Brighton performances. But I think, Brighton have also had their injury problems as well as Manchester United. Let's not use it as an excuse, but there has been injury problems for a lot of Premier League clubs this season. Again, like I say, don't use that as an excuse because you can't keep handling that as an excuse. But I think Manchester United, they need the result more than Brighton. Brighton obviously are going to finish in the top 10 or at least there. And I think also, considering where Manchester United's precarious position is, even though we beat Newcastle on Wednesday night, we still find ourselves still in 8th, where we are going to the AMEX Stadium desperately needing a win. Because I think if we don't win and we only get a point and maybe Newcastle lose, we will still finish 7th. But again, if failure to get a win at all and we lose the game completely, Manchester United will not have European football next season as it currently stands, because I can't see us winning the FA Cup. I think, that speech from Ten Hag, yesterday evening after the 3-2 win over Newcastle United at Old Trafford, even though that speech was good and he's trying to get the fans and supporters on side, I think the damage has already been done, and it's already too little, too late for Ten Hag to keep his job. Because without European football, that is going to cost any manager their job. It cost Louis van Gaal when we won the FA Cup. He was sacked instantly on the spot. Everybody knew he was going to lose his job. Van Gaal was going to be sacked the next day, and Van Gaal was going to be out of Man United Football Club very, very quickly. And the club were not afraid to act then. And I think maybe that is the plan. if we get to that if we're in that FA Cup final, aren't we? Let's be honest. We've got to play Man City. I think we all know where the result's going to go. Winning the FA Cup ain't going to keep your job. Winning the FA Cup is not going to keep your job. But the matter of the fact is, Manchester United need to be in a better European competition. Like, no disrespect to everyone who's going to qualify for the Europa Conference League. No disrespect to any other European team completely. Man United are too good for that. Let's be really honest here. Even though it's not the competition we all want to be in, Man United have got to get European football because the revenue and the money and the profits are going to absolutely slump completely to rock bottom if Man United are not in Europe next season. And I think Ten Hag knows this is make or break here. Luke failure to win against Brighton is going to cost him his job. But we also are relying on other results. We are relying on a Newcastle drop-off. We're relying on Brentford to do a job at home on Sunday evening as well, where all 20 Premier League clubs play on the final day of the Premier League season, as usual in May, come the end of the season. We are relying on Brentford to also do us a massive, massive favour because as it stands currently, we aren't in Europe at all. As it currently stands, we are 8th and we've still been 8th. And again, it's been a Premier League season to forget. It's been a car crash. It's been a nightmare. It's been an absolute disaster for this football club this season. Man United have gone from finishing 3rd to finishing either 7th or 8th. That should never have happened under a manager, Eric Ten Hag. That should have been happening under managers like David Moyes. And look where that took him. That got him the sack very, very quickly. And Man United had to do something to be able to rescue their season. And remember, when we finished 7th under David Moyes, we ended up in the Europa League. If we get 7th, we are going to have to take the Europa Conference League. I know a lot of Man United fans and a lot of Man United supporters would rather not be in it. But I think because of the revenue and the money the club is going to be able to bring in because they're in a European competition, it's the European competition that Man United can take seriously. A lot of academy players and youth prospects can be used in that competition to develop their game and give them a more of a first-team opportunity to rest our bigger and better players with bigger fixtures. But I don't think, playing Thursday, Sunday next season is going to help Manchester United. I think we could end up turning into Brighton where we are fatigued, we are playing a heavy fixture congestion, and we are trying to compete in Europe as well as the Premier League. And then you've got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup as well to also try and compete for next season. But Man United need this. I want to see what we did yesterday produced again on Sunday. Because if I'm going to be really honest with you, I thought we played some very, very good football against Newcastle. It's the best I've seen in a long time. I don't know where that was against Burnley, Palace and Arsenal, but something obviously woke up in Eric Ten Hag's mind. Maybe, the tactics and the style of play has had to change for him to honestly keep his job. Maybe he's been given an absolute bollocking from, the new people that have been brought into this football club, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Dave Brailsford, Jason Wilcox, and also the Man City CEO that's come to the club as well. I think he's probably been given an absolute rocket and told, failure to get any European football next season, you're going to be out the door. And I think, that decision has already been made. But Man United currently stands, we don't have a first-team manager that could manage this club if Ten Hag gets sacked. I just want to be able to go again on Sunday and finish this season on a high. If we don't get European football, we are going to have to face the fact we've been an embarrassment and we deserve to be laughed at. There's no beating around the bush about it. United have not been good enough this season and we deserve to be in the position that we currently face ourselves today. We are currently 8th. That, again, is in a joke. That is embarrassing. That is, quite frankly, bloody pathetic that we are in this position in season 2 of Eric Ten Hag's managerial career as Man United Football Club's manager. We should have never found ourselves going into the final day needing a result to get European football. It was always guaranteed that United would always finish in the European spot. And if it's the Europa Conference League, just face reality. We are going to get bantered. We are going to get laughed at. We are going to be given the jokes and the banter that we are going to deserve because United have only got themselves to blame here. Eric Ten Hag, hasn't had the season we all thought he was going to have. Season 2, we all expected Manchester United to push on and be bigger and bolder on the pitch. We haven't delivered this season. We have to face reality. We've not been good enough. The results haven't been good enough on the pitch. The off-field speculation has not helped the on-the-pitch situation either. And Eric Ten Hag has basically been handed out to dry by owners that don't give a shit about this club. There's been a lack of investments in the last 2 transfer windows. Eric Ten Hag has not been given nowhere near enough money to rebuild this squad that needs to be rebuilt next season. And Man United are basically stuck in the weeds again, trying to get another manager through another season with a bang average squad that is overrated, overhyped, and massively trying to overachieve again. Because we are making progress, in my view. We are making some kind of progress. We've got to 4 cup finals in the last 2 seasons, something that doesn't normally happen. We are trying to win the FA Cup, and if you can beat Brighton on Sunday and Newcastle lose, or even get a point for Newcastle gets them onto 58 points. A win for Manchester United gets them onto 60. So we would finish 2 points clear of Newcastle. We'd finish 7th, win the Europa Conference League. I'm going to have to take it. You're going to have to take it. And it's the reality of what life is today. United are simply just not been good enough to get anywhere near top 4. We're not good enough for Europa League football, in my view. But again, even finishes 7th isn't exactly a bad thing. Because at the end of the day, what would you rather do? Manchester United not be in Europe at all and forget it at all next season and just focus on the FA Cup, Carabao Cup and the league? Or would you rather have a European trophy to compete for, go for it as well and win it and be able to say, at least we can still compete? But then again, everyone's going to say, well, what's the bigger picture? What are we trying to do as a football club? And that is trying to rebuild under this manager. I think we'll stick with Eric Ten Hag. I don't think we're going to sack him. I think they're going to give him one more season. And if it goes wrong again like it has this season, he'll be gone. Because I don't think there's any other manager currently out there who can take this hot seat and manage this club on a full-time basis where, here again, there'll be a lack of investment. There'll be players who have been kept at this club over certain others that have been told to go on a free transfer. And players that we want, we won't get. And players we don't want, we end up getting because there's no other options of the manager and Manchester United Football Club to get players they really wanted, they fucked up on. Sunday is a make or break for everything. It's not just for the transfer window, it's for European football. It's everything, basically, the manager's future. So you've got really 3 big talking points at the weekend. You've got European qualification, you've got the summer transfer window, and you've got the manager situation. All 3 of those things are absolutely clinging onto a lifeline. We are walking on a tightrope here. One thing after another could break the whole mould of anything being positive on Sunday. But the result from Wednesday, I'm hoping we can take that into Sunday and go and get a result of the AMEX. Because as Brighton have always had a really, really strong home record, they've been massively, massively impressive at the AMEX ever since they've been in the Premier League. Their home form's been fantastic. They get good results, they play good football, and they do have a good manager that is producing quality, talented young players that are trying to take Brighton to the next level. But what Brighton, I don't think is going to help them. The young players they're trying to produce are going to attract the prospects of bigger clubs wanting their players. I think Brighton are going to end up turning into one of those, like a Bournemouth there. Or you're going to have a young lot of players that are so talented. The bigger clubs are going to come calling. And those Brighton players will not be afraid to make the move and depart Brighton Football Club. But I think De Zerbi, he doesn't want to obviously leave the managerial post at Brighton. I think he'll still be Brighton's manager next season. But the prospect is Brighton could lose a lot of those young players because a lot of those young players are going to want European football. A lot of those players think they can be bigger and better than Brighton. Obviously, no player is ever bigger than the football club. Let me remind you. We see that a lot of Manchester United. The players always think that they're bigger than the club, which they're not. You don't see that at Brighton because Brighton do not mess about. But I think now United need to get their act together. If we win Sunday and we do get European football, you've got to applaud. We've got there in the end, but we've only just got it. We can't afford to be able to not be in Europe at all. The last time was 2014. That's 10 years ago. That, again, is simply nowhere near good enough for Manchester United not to be in Europe next season. And United have got to deliver it. Because Ten Hag will be sacked. If we don't win Sunday and we don't get European football, Ten Hag's going to go. We've got to face reality. That manager's going to be sacked. And it'll be 7 managers in 11 years. But there's a lot of promise from what I saw from Wednesday to take into Sunday. I mean, since Amrabat's been in that team, Sofyan Amrabat, I feel really, really sorry for. For me, he's one of my favourite players. How this guy has not been given more of a first-team opportunity to prove himself that he is good enough to take his game up to the next level. at Manchester United, I will never know what that promise was made to him when he was signed by the club in last summer's transfer window. I don't know what the hell Man United were thinking not using Amrabat enough, because they clearly haven't. They've clearly neglected Amrabat for certain favouritism players that are still getting first team opportunity. Amrabat has proved against Palace, he's proved against Burnley, he's proved against Arsenal, and he's proved against Newcastle yesterday that Amrabat has been one of our better players. And I think Amrabat is fighting for his Manchester United future. I still don't think Man United are going to make that signing a permanent one, because I do believe Man United are going to want bigger and better. No disrespect to Sofian Amrabat, United need better, but he's doing a job that no one else is afraid to do. And Amrabat is being able to be solid at CDM. And since he's been back at CDM, he's been able to hold that midfield. That is because the preferred CDM option, Casemiro, has had to be played at centre-back next to an old pensioner in Johnny Evans, which, again, that should still not be happening under Erik ten Hag. I don't understand why Erik ten Hag is still grafting the idea that playing Casemiro and Johnny Evans as a centre-back partnership is a good idea. It is a disaster waiting to happen. You see the goals we concede Wednesday. That, again, is down to the back four, I'm afraid, because they can't do the defensive job properly when you've got a CDM being played at centre-back and then you've got Johnny Evans. That is going to give not any Man United fan or supporter any confidence at all that that is a good idea. And it clearly hasn't, because we've conceded 4 against Palace, we conceded 1 against Burnley, 1 against Arsenal, and we've conceded 2 against Newcastle. We have conceded 8 goals in our last 4 Premier League games, and we've only picked 4 points out of our last 12. That is down to the defensive job of our back four, because they can't be trusted be able to do the jobs that they are being required to do by Erik ten Hag's questionable tactics. I think Ten Hag has got to obviously try and wake this up. But the problem is, because we've got no other centre-backs, even though, again, Ten Hag can't use that as an excuse, because, again, on Wednesday, he had Kabwala and Lissandro Martinez on the bench. How Ten Hag still goes with Casemiro and Johnny Evans is absolutely laughable. For me, that should not be happening again at Manchester United Football Club. That should not be happening, because you've got 2 younger players on that bench who are better centre-back options than playing Casemiro and Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans is leaving this club at the end of the season. It is about time someone told Man United that is the correct thing to do. Johnny Evans should not be at Man United next season. And thank God we got the truth that he is leaving the club at the end of the season, as well as Tom Heaton. Both players are being released on a free transfer. They should have never, ever been brought back to this club. Why Solskjaer thought it was a good idea bringing Tom Heaton back, I will never know. And what Man United ever thought bringing Johnny Evans back was a good idea, again, I have got no idea why they thought that was a genius idea. It's because they didn't have to spend any money. It's because both players they got were on a free transfer. And as soon as Man United see a free transfer opportunity, they absolutely bite your hand off. They take the opportunity and they take it. I just wish Ten Hag would go with a more traditional back four that is able to do that job. And maybe Ten Hag will have to change that Sunday, because with the rumours are that we've got Varane back in training, and we've also got Lindelof back in training as well, which obviously is going to be a boost Sunday. And maybe we will see a stronger back four. We'll see our midfield more controllable with Casemiro back at CDM, with Mainu and Fernandes in front, and we will see a more attacking front three as well. I don't think, for me, Ten Hag needs to make many changes, but there are certain changes he has got to make, because if we go a goal down, we are going to have to come from behind again and rescue the game, because if Newcastle get the early goal, the floodgates could open for Newcastle. That Brentford team, again, have not been as solid, but we can't rely on others' results. We need to focus on ourselves, focus on our game, and get the result that we need. And it still might not be enough. But if Brentford was win or draw, that is good enough, because Man United win, we leapfrog Newcastle, we get 7th, we get Europa Conference League football. And you're going to have to take it. But Ten Hag knows that, again, make the changes that are going to be necessary to get that club over the line on Sunday. Go with a more balanced back four. Get your midfield back to where you think it needs to be, and keep the same wingers on the left and the right, and get Højlund back in that team, because I don't understand why Rasmus Højlund was left on that bench on Wednesday. I've got no idea what Ten Hag was thinking, because you've got to face reality. How many times has he banged on about we're not scoring enough goals, we're not scoring enough goals, we're not scoring enough goals? And he has banged on that we need 2 elite strikers at this football club. And he was only given 1. That, again, is not Erik Ten Hag's fault. And we all realised he wanted Harry Kane. Harry Kane wanted Manchester United. And Man United should have paid over the odds and got Harry Kane, instead of letting him go to Germany, to Bayern Munich, where he's won fuck all in his first season. Bayern Munich manager Thomas Tuchel has been sacked, and now they want to keep Tuchel because Bayern do not know where to get a new manager from. Man United should have broke the bank and got Harry Kane. They should have slapped 150 million on that table and got him in. And they should have got Højlund in as well. That would have benefited Manchester United this season if they would have had an elite striker like Harry Kane in this first team, scoring the goals and becoming the Premier League's greatest goal scorer of all time ever, overtaking Alan Shearer's goal scoring record, become the greatest Premier League striker ever of all time in English football. Harry Kane could have led us to the title. I can't quite guarantee how many times I thought that in my head this season. If Man United would have got Harry Kane, we would have won the league title. We would have been champions, because he's a predator inside the penalty area. He's good inside the outside the D from free kicks and set pieces, and he guarantees you goals. That has been a struggle all fucking season because we haven't given the manager the strikers. So I think for me, Højlund has got to come back in, because I think that was a mistake. I think playing a false 9, for me, in my view, I think it's quite a weak mentality. Playing a false 9, I don't think guarantees you anything. I don't think a false 9 gives you any indication at all that Manchester United are trying to be able to be a good attacking football team. Playing a false 9 by trying to play Bruno as the false striker when you've got Ahmad and Garnacho as your wingers who are trying to provide that striker service. And again, we saw it a lot yesterday. How many times did we get that ball into the box, and where was our striker? You've got to admit it. Where was that striker yesterday, with how many times we seem to manage to all of a sudden get the ball into the box? I don't know why, but clearly they've been ignoring Højlund all season. And again, I feel sorry for the lad, because he's only 21 and he does guarantee you goals. And Owen Hargreaves did come out of a comment yesterday saying that Højlund can score 25 to 30 goals next season if he's being allowed to provide the service that he needs to put the ball into the back of the net. Owen Hargreaves really didn't think of that. And I've got a lot of respect for Owen Hargreaves. He's an ex-United legend. He got us. He won the Champions League with us. He won the Premier League with us in his first season at the club. That was the problem about Owen Hargreaves' comment. And I've got a lot of respect and time for him. But as an ex-Man United legend, you've got to admit he missed that key talking point, is that we don't provide in the service. That is why Højlund has only bagged 15 goals. And again, it's not a bad return from a striker that's only 21. He's came from Atalanta, and it's a completely different league from Serie A compared to the Premier League. It's a different kettle of fish. It's night and day. So I think for me, next season, Højlund has still got to be one of our main strikers, but we need an experienced striker also to be able to help Højlund develop into that full-time elite striker in the future. I don't know who that striker is going to be, but again, it is going to depend on Sunday's result. Because if United don't have European football, forget getting an elite striker. We are going to be going with an inexperienced striker again. And we could end up with like Ivan Toney. Again, I've got no disrespect to Ivan Toney. I would love him at Manchester United Football Club. But at the end of the day, we need experience. We ain't going to get Osman. Forget Lautaro Martinez, because he's going to stay Inter Milan. And forget Harry Kane, because Bayern Munich will not let him go. Unless push comes to shove and he's pushing for the move back to England. That is the only way we get Harry Kane, is if he pushes for the move out of Bayern Munich. So I think for me, Højlund has to come back into the team, because we were providing service yesterday. And that is because we've realised now, I think this has probably woken up to Erik Ten Hag. Without Marcus Rashford and without Antony, aren't we a better team? You have to admit that now. We are a better team without Marcus Rashford and Antony. What I did not like about Rashford yesterday, he goes over and bangs to the fans. He slags them off. He starts shouting and effing and blinding at them. Fans are allowed to a view and an opinion. I understand when you've got professionals like Marcus Rashford going over to the fans and arguing and effing and blinding at them. That is a lack of respect there. I think Marcus Rashford doesn't want to be here. I think United would be better off getting rid of this spoilt little baby who's got no commitment, no desire, and no guarantee, doesn't guarantee you any love or support to the badge or the shirt of this great football club we once were. He is throwing his toys out the pram time and time again. And we have seen it twice in the last 2 seasons under the row under this manager. And it is making me sick. And he goes over and starts shouting and effing and blinding it at the fans and the supporters. That is what you call a player who doesn't give a fuck. And for me, it's the same with Anthony. Yeah, again, I hold my hands up. I thought it was the right wing solution. That clearly has not worked, is it? That clearly has not worked at all. That Anthony signing, we've had inquiries tonight for Anthony from a French club. I don't know who that is, but United have got to be able to get rid of Anthony off the books because that 85 million signing has flopped massively. And I think United would be better off selling him and getting money for another winger that is going to provide better quality on the pitch that United have been lacking all season long. And that's been the problem with the front three. The front three has been changing week in, week out, week in, week out, game in, game out, game in, game out. It's been changing way too many times because Eric Ten Hag still doesn't recognise who his strongest front three are. And I think, again, that has haunted Eric Ten Hag's problems for the attacking football. He doesn't understand who the best attacking front three are. But I think Wednesday was a big, big sign that we are going to be moving Rashford on. And I think Anthony is done as well. I'm not going to miss either of those players. It's been good while they've been here. We've had good times. We've seen them score both great goals for this club. But at the end of the day, it is time to say goodbye because yesterday was a wake-up call. When you've got quality young players like Ahmad and Garnacho that are being able to give you threat after threat in front of the opposition goal, especially the Amad Diallo goal yesterday. I've said this about Amad Diallo, and I say it again. Look what he did for Sunderland last season. Look what he did for Sunderland. He was ripping the Championship up, scoring goal after goal, and it was goal after glorious goal after glorious goal. Defences in the Championship teams could not cope with Amad Diallo. And I said, and I always said, and I believed in him, he has got the quality to make that right wing his own. And I think for me, that is in a nutshell by the way he took his second goal yesterday. He could have easily had 2 goals if he had been able to gut that shot better past Dubravka that might have gone in. But he's offering so much more quality and attack and threat that the back four opposition, again, cannot cope with his pace and his speed and the quality that right wing is finally being able to produce. Something, again, we have not seen all season long. Remember when everybody said that he said Sancho and Pellistri and Rashford the answer? No. Answer the answer? No. Amad Diallo is your bloody answer for that right wing. And again, he can't do it on his own because you can't put Garnacho there. You can't put Pellistri there. Rashford ain't a right winger. Anthony isn't good enough. We are going to need another right winger. And again, with the rumours tonight that Fabrizio Romano has come out and said that Man United are now in official talks with Elise from Crystal Palace, who is pushing to leave the club at the end of the season. It looks like, for me, we are going to be welcoming Mikel Elise to Manchester United next season, and I cannot wait. And greetings to Lee in the chat. United will find it hard to get rid of players on big pay. Yeah, exactly. I do completely agree with you. We are going to struggle to get rid of the big players. But like I said, if we can get Elise in as the other right winger for Amad and we lose Pellistri and Sancho and Anthony, they may keep Rashford as a bench option. But I think United, if they got a big, big bid from a big club and it was a lot of money, I'm taking it because I could then reinvest that on the squad, be able to rebuild it from scratch and get better players to be able to fill the void that Rashford is going to leave. He isn't going to leave no void because he isn't good enough. So I think for me, Eric Ten Hag has realised after yesterday that Amad and Garnacho are the answers. And I've been saying it for weeks. I think United need to build a team around 4 or 5 key players. I think for me, Rasmus Højlund, Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, Ahmad, and Lissandro Martinez. I think those 5 players are key for Man United's success next season. If you can build a younger, hungrier team around these 5 players are going to take the Premier League, and the Premier League are going to be scared. They're going to be frightened. Frimpong has been chased by Man City. United were looking at him. Yeah, Frimpong is also now being tracked by Real Madrid. We have to get that Frimpong deal done very quickly. But the problem is with Frimpong, you're going to look at Real Madrid, you're going to look at Man City, you're going to look at Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Arsenal, Frimpong in those teams. What's he going to pick? Champions League football or Europa Conference League football for Manchester United? But his release clause might help, because if Wan-Bissaka goes, maybe we offer Wan-Bissaka in an exchange deal for Frimpong, or Man United just activate the release clause. I'm not 110% sure what we're going to do, but maybe that's something we can consider, maybe trying to get that deal down, or trying to offer Wan-Bissaka in exchange for the release clause and do a player swap. I don't think Bayer Leverkusen would want that, but I think they'd want the money more, because I think the Frimpong is definitely going to be out of Bayer Leverkusen at the end of the season, and they're going to lose a good player. And Xavi Alonso will want to replace Frimpong because he is losing a talented, world-class right back in that team. And Bayer Leverkusen will suffer going forward, because he has scored so many important goals this season from the right back and the right wing back position. That is something Delot can't do. That is something Wan-Bissaka can't do. I see all this hype about Delot has been one of our consistent best fit players all season long. I see all this Delot hype train on Twitter, and it is so embarrassing to see the fans falling from a bang average right back that is simply nowhere good enough defensively. Going forward, he's not good enough either, and he doesn't do the job in the whole 90 minutes. He is not good enough. Delot will never be good enough. Frimpong is the answer. But like I said, the conversation is, if we build the team around the 5 players I see United can have, United will have a successful future. And I think for me, that is the way we need to go down. A younger, hungrier team that can build and develop under a manager that can get that team playing good football. I think if the rumours are true that Romano has come out and said Elise is going to be done to United, and we are now in official talks to get that deal done, that is going to happen very quickly. He's got a 60 million release clause. The only problem is we've got a 100 million budget of what I've been told from a source close to United. We've only got 100 million. So that only gives United about 40 million left, but that could be a big problem, because if you spend 60 on Elise, you have got 40 million left to be able to do something. So hoping this Elise deal will get done, because I would be very, very fucking excited if we get a player like Elise at Man United Football Club next season, because again, Elise is going to get in that team straight away. I think people need to realise, if we sign Elise for 60 odd million, he's getting in that team straight away. There's no Ahmad in that team. There's going to be no Palestri, Sancho, or Anthony. They're going to be goners. And I think now United have realised Elise is the answer. And I think Palace will struggle, because I think they won't just struggle to keep hold of Elise. They will struggle to keep hold of Eze as well. Rasmus is going to be a top player. Need to build, as you said, around him. Exactly. Completely agree. At least you're being able to see what I've been talking about for absolute weeks on end. Build a team around Rasmus Højlund. He will score goals. So, like I said, Elise to United is basically guaranteed to happen, and that will get me really excited, because that is the right wing I would love at this club. Guarantees your goals, quality service from the right wing, and be able to do something our right wings have been doing for years. Like I said, I hold my hands up. Anthony's not worked, but Elise is the answer. And hoping, like I said, what Fabrizio Romano has tweeted, we are now in official talks to get Elise done quickly. If we can get that done, brilliant. But Chelsea are still in the background. I'm telling you, if we can get Elise done, we need to get it done quick, because apparently if United do not act, Elise will end up going to Chelsea, and that will ruin his career. But I think Man United, he supported him as a boy and as a kid. I think we're going to get that deal done. United need to stop overpaying and stop giving huge wages. Yeah, I think that will also stop next season. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford have put the brakes on that happening. We are going to stop overpaying, and we're going to stop giving huge wages to these players, because they are taking the club for a ride. It's all about the greed and their money in their back pockets, and that's why we've not been performing. But like I said, the focus has to be on, we need to get over the line Sunday. And Ten Hag, I think, needs to make the necessary changes. We go back to playing a 3-man midfield. We go back to playing a 4-3-3 traditional, 3 in the midfield, 3 in the attack, 4 as the back 4, and obviously the goalkeeper. And I think, we don't use Bruno at the false nine and get Rasmus Højlund back in the team down the middle as our main striker. Rashford can stay on the bench. It doesn't bother me if he never plays for this football club ever again. And please hit the like button on this video as well. And if you've got mates and friends that like this type of content, please spread the word about this channel. I want to get everyone involved in future content. And we're doing live streams off my phone now, which is the first time I've ever actually done any of that. But I've got my laptop back working. I mean, what I had to do to fix this was simple as anything. I couldn't believe how embarrassing it was. So yeah, please subscribe and hit the like button. But yeah, the focus is on Sunday and we have to get the job done. And I'm hoping that's what we're going to do. So yeah, the back four will be, if Ten Hag has got Varane fit and he's got Martinez fit, please start them both at centre-back, because it'll give Varane his final hurrah as a United player. It'll get Martinez back into this team, and then we can focus on the FA Cup final next Saturday afternoon, whatever you want to call it. I think, it will be, Diego Dalot. It will be, unfortunately, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think, Casemiro needs to be moved back to CDM, because that is, the better role that Casemiro does at the CDM role. How do I think Varane's done at this club? Not at all great. I don't think it's worked. I think Real Madrid saw Man United absolutely coming, because they knew Varane had injury problems. They knew what they were doing. They were luring Man United in. And Man United and Solskjaer absolutely fell for it. Varane should have never, ever been brought to this club. I've got a lot of respect for what he's done, and I'm going to miss Varane, but it's not worked, is it? You've got to look at his injury record and look at the injury problems. That has been the telltale story of this 3 years at this club. The injuries have cost him any long-term future at this club. And Man United shouldn't have saw it. Solskjaer shouldn't have saw it. We were absolutely naive to go and sign a centre-back that was so badly injury-prone. We were basically signing another Luke Shaw. So that has not worked. But I thank Varane for what he's done. And I put it on my Twitter and all my socials. But I thank Varane for what he's done for this football club. And, I thank him for what he's done. He's scored a few crucial goals here and there, but it's not worked because of the injuries. I mean, we wouldn't have won the first game of the season without his late-headed winning goals. So at the end of the day, he did get a few good results and a good few goals here and there, but he's been telltale stories of injury after injury, and that again has not helped his United career. So I think Varane, he's going to have to go for free, and that is what we're going to do. But maybe we don't need Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right left back. I mean, I don't understand why Ten Hag still carries on with Wan-Bissaka at left back. That is like putting Bruno Fernandes in goal and putting Onana in the midfield. I don't understand why Ten Hag carries on putting, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at left back. He is not a bloody left back, Eric. And I know they made a mistake letting Reguilon go. I'm massively, massively shocked they let Reguilon go. I absolutely loved Reguilon when we signed him. I don't understand why Man United decided to terminate that loan deal in January. That was absolutely stupid, because we've got no left backs. And again, Romano has come out yesterday and said Man United are prioritising a left back next season. That should have been in this January, and we've missed it. But the left back I would go for, yeah, I do remember Jemba. Again, that didn't really work out, did it? I'm shocked not many youths are knocking on the door. But that's because our academy ain't good enough. We don't have the quality in our academy. We've only got Wheatley and AMEX. We've only got them. That is all we've got. We haven't got another quality. Maybe Louis Jackson, I think we've got, and Wheatley and Asmus. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I think that's all we've got, because the academy ain't good enough, except for the under 18s. That is the only decent quality we've got. So yeah, what was I on about? I think, letting Reguilon go was a massive mistake. I think letting Reguilon go was a massive, massive mistake. Man United should have kept until the end of the season from the loan deal that we agreed with Tottenham. And Reguilon was doing a good job at left back. But it's United's naivety again. Reguilon gave his heart to that club. He loved playing for Man United. And when we played Brentford in the away fixture, he got a Man United shot off one of those United players. That is because he's got United on his heart. He gave his heart and his soul for that club, and United should have never terminated the loan deal. And I think for me, maybe if Martinez is fit enough and Varane is as well, would you put Martinez at left back, Varane and Lindelof, and then Dalot? Because Martinez could do the job at left back because he is left-footed. Would you bring back Bebe? I mean, don't get me started on bloody Bebe. Bloody hell, he sounds like he sounds like a Teletubbies character. Hello, Bebe. Oh my god, I could. Oh, what we ever signed him? Didn't he score like one goal for this club and that was it? When it against Wolves in the league that he scored the goal, or was it in the Carabao Cup? It was something like that. We got Bebe's only goal for the club. But yeah, like I said, do you go with Martinez at left back because he's left-footed, Varane, Lindelof, and then Delo? Because that's a balanced back four. That is a very, very, very balanced back four because you've got a left-footed left back, you've got two main centre backs, and then you've got a right back. But I think Ten Hag won't make changes. But I think Varane's got to be fit enough, Lindelof's got to be fit enough, and if they've only come back into training yesterday, I don't think Ten Hag will risk the risk because he'll want all his key stars starting in that FA Cup final. But, I think Ten Hag has got to start taking some risks here. You are going to pick up injuries, but it's just the excuses that he's used all season to say, I've got too many injury problems. I don't care. Get on with it and get these players fighting for the club and the badge and the shirt. So that's what I want from these players. That is what I want. I just want some fighting and some spirit. So I think Ten Hag is going to have to go full strength Sunday, and he's going to have to go full strength next Saturday in the FA Cup final against Man City at Wembley. He's got no choice here because he's fighting to keep his job. Ten Hag needs to go with his best team selection for the last 2 games of this season to keep his job here because otherwise he's going to be gone. Ten Hag will be sacked. The club will not be afraid to act. So let's get this team back to where it should be. Get Casemiro back at CDM. Go with a traditional balanced back four and get your star striker back in that team. You don't need Johnny Evans. You don't need Wan-Bissaka. You don't need McTominay. You don't need Rashford and you don't need Anthony. If we had offers for all 5 of them, I'm sorry to say I am taking it. They are not good enough. And if Southgate replaces Ten Hag, I've already said I'm no longer supporting his team. If we go for Southgate over Eric Ten Hag, I'm going to lose my shit. And I'm no longer going to support Man United. And a lot of people say there's no loyalty or commitment as a fan of Man United to walk away. But Southgate will fail. Gareth Southgate will fucking fail at this club because it will end up like another David Moyes situation. And does any Man United fan or any other Man United supporter want that? That's my big question to you. Do you want another shit situation where 9 months later he's lost his job? Do you really want that? I think keeping Ten Hag is the better option, I'm afraid. And yeah, it might not be the right option, but at least he's going to have a proper backing in the summer, I'm hoping. But I still don't trust a Jim Ratcliffe. I don't trust a Dave Brailsford, and I do not trust them because they're working alongside the Glazers, and the Glazers are still going to have the final say on how much money there's going to be. We've got to give the final say on the transfers. But apparently, we are going to have a better and bigger summer transfer than we've ever seen in our lifetime. Well, if we're going to let 15 to 20 players go, they're going to have to bring 15 to 20 in, and we've got to spend 5 to 600 million, I'm afraid. Bad as well for England football team, Jordan Euros, if he's announced to go to Man United. He ain't going to get the United job. Because if England fail the Euros and they fail miserably, he's going to eat. They'll stand by Southgate and we'll go again. We'll go again for the World Cup. If he can't get us there, we'll sack him. But Man United might decide to stick by Ten Hag. But everything depends on Sunday. I think Ten Hag, if Ten Hag goes with what I think I want him to do, I think we will beat Brighton on Sunday because Brighton are not the same team they once were not last season. Brighton are not that solid team they were last season. Yes, they've had injuries. They don't use it as an excuse. They just haven't been helped by the off-field speculation surrounding Roberto De Zerbi's future. That is why the on-field performances of Brighton have been shocking because if he ain't committed to Brighton and he's already got another job lined up, how can those players be able to perform for him and step up to the plate where Brighton need them most? That is the big problem at Brighton Football Club. They have got no stability with the manager. I think Roberto De Zerbi might go, but I think he might stay because I don't think he's ready to be a big European manager yet. And no, Brighton have been shocking. As you said, Europa has not helped them. Yeah, it hasn't because they've been playing Thursday, Sunday. And when they get knocked out of Europe, they are having to bring back their fatigueness and their tiredness and the weaknesses are being shown on the pitch. I think United will win on Sunday because I think we saw a lot of positives on Wednesday night. But like I said, I'm already preparing for a title for Sunday. If we lose on Sunday and we don't get European football, I can't imagine the outrage. I can't imagine the anger and the frustration of not being in Europe. And people think being in Europe is actually not being in Europe is a good idea. I completely disagree. I completely disagree. If Manchester United are not in Europe next season, God help us, because our big players are going to want to come here with no European football. Is Elise going to want to come here without no European football? That's big questions. Maybe United have got deals done behind the scenes. I don't know. But if we've got some of them already lined up to come through the door as soon as the season ends, then United are going to have to act quickly. We can't be waiting for the last few weeks or days of the summer transfer window. We need 3 things are going to happen on Sunday. The manager's future, European football, and the summer transfer window. All 3 of those things will come into Sunday's full-time result. If we get European football, it will be better. All 3 of those things. If it won't, then the manager's going to go. The summer transfer window is going to be shit, and the manager's going to be gone. So United have got the summer transfer window will be shit, the manager will be gone, and we'll have no European football. If we win Sunday, the summer transfer window will be great. Erik ten Hag might stay on, and we will be in Europe next season. But it all depends, really. Yeah, if they're serious, they should know who to get for not being linked with 400 players. Exactly. They need a list of who they're going to get, and they've got to get all the first team priorities right. But like I said, we are going to have to see what happens on Sunday. I'm going to go for a 2-0 United win. That's my score prediction. I've gone on my team. Let me know your views and your thoughts in the live chat on the live stream after the show. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button and share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button and the retweet button. Remember to always put that notification bell on at all times as well, so you receive dedicated brand new content planned for the rest of this year in 2024. We've got brand new videos, shorts, live streams planned. We're going to have the summer transfer window covered right throughout 2024 as well, through Europe, the EFL, and the Premier League as well. Lee's gone for a 3-1 win in the chat. And yeah, let's see where we are on Sunday evening. Will Man United get European football? Will we get in Europa Conference League? And will our summer transfer window be good if we don't have any of those things? And will Erik ten Hag keep his job? Loads of questions will be answered on Sunday. It depends if we beat Brighton, but join me after the full-time whistle and the full-time result at the AMEX, where we play Brighton over Albion away at the AMEX on the final day of the 23-24 Premier League season. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind to each other. You're all legends. You're all legendary. And I'll see you on the next one. Come on, United.